good evening everybody. I think I drew the short straw for the first person to talk this evening, so I think we've got quite a few to get through, so I'm just basically just going to get started. So what I'd like to talk to you tonight about is hardware prototyping for startups in Hong Kong. So I'm Paul Sykes, I'm the co-founder and chief hardware engineer at Ambi Labs.
If they want to find out more,
yeah, if you'd like to find out more, then there's the there isn't a website address there. So, but there's some leaflets on the table across there, so you can pick them up and obviously talk to me and Julian and anybody else who's wearing a Ambi Climate t-shirt. So, okay, prototyping, early stage, quick and dirty is good. So, basically, you want to swallow your pride and just get something working fast. Now this can be quite difficult for engineers because they like to make good things. So sometimes it's better just to make things quickly. So make use of development boards, breakout boards. An interesting point is there's a lot of hardware using embedded Linux now. And I see lots of people going straight to the device like a Raspberry Pi or a cubby board or something like that. Most of the applications you can actually just write on your desktop first. So, and when things start going wrong, you're going to swap from this to your desktop anyway. So, because it's easier to debug on. So, yeah. So, swallow your pride. Just get something done, dirty fast. Start getting feedback as soon as possible. Okay. So, you're a startup, not a hobbyist. So, get professional PCBs manufactured. 3-day turnaround typically. My favourite manufacturer at the moment is Huatang PCB. You can get a 10x10 PCB, 2 layers done for 90 RMB including shipping on a 3-day turnaround.
What's the minimum quantity for that?
You get 10 pieces for that. So it's a bit of a no-brainer. So even when you have early prototypes, you can start doing that. But you can make the prototypes more useful by laying them out on a bigger board, putting spacing for lots of headers. Just put headers all over the board. So if how you decided to wire it up doesn't work, it means that you can change it just with a few jumpers and stuff like that. And yeah, zero only. So things that you can break and move things around. So component selection, sourcing, a problem. I presume as a startup at some point you're going to probably want to move this thing into manufacture. Now, when you start looking at components, you'll see all these prices, and you're like, how can I, possibly meet a sensible price point for, the cost of all these components? The problem is, established manufacturers get better prices. So it's just a fact. You'll start hearing terms like book price, preferential price, supported price. So the book price is kind of the thing that you see in all the online catalog distributors. The preferential price is like a price that you can negotiate with, and also sometimes the distributors get supported pricing. So basically, they've gone to the manufacturer and said, we've seen this exciting project, and we'd like to be able to give them prices, better pricing, and the manufacturer will actually give the distributor a discount, which they then pass on to you, or some of that on to you. So, but don't rely on things getting cheaper, because it might not happen. So, unobtainium components. So these are things that are basically always out of stock. So a good example is the CC3000 Wi-Fi module. I think it was first announced about 2 years ago. Up until about 5 months ago, it was impossible to get hold of them in quantities bigger than one piece. So there was a lot of people that kind of designed projects around that, but they couldn't actually build it because they couldn't get any significant stock. So what can we do in Hong Kong? Huaqiang Bay electronics market. Just a quick trip across the border. I put it first, but to be honest, it's not my first choice of places to go, because if you've ever been, you can see from the picture down in the bottom right, it can be quite overwhelming. There's lots of stuff there. It's very hard to find things. Kind of my first stop is to kind of look on like 1688.com or Taobao, and that's fine.
1688.com.
It's Alibaba, but it's the Chinese version of Alibaba. So there's sometimes more stuff on it. So and obviously Google Translate is your friend. So look for it on Taobao, and then if you can't see it on Taobao, look on 1688.com.
Sorry, I have a question because it started to ask something.
Okay.
You're not scared about the quality of the components if you have like a board that you have to populate with a lot of components, and you have one IC that just like it's fake or something that you bought on Taobao, just like
okay.
It's a whole nightmare to debug after.
It is, but I actually it's on my next slide, so I will get to it. So
sorry.
Okay, a good thing is look at for sellers that have you can see the transactions from the sellers, so you can see if they've had multiple transactions on that component. So if somebody has like 100 transactions on that component and all the reviews are good, then hopefully, touch wood, you're going to get something that's going to be fine. Yes, beware of people that have 0 transactions, and yeah.
I must say that DJKey once put the wrong chip also in the packaging, matching network.
Yeah, it is possible. Yeah, catalog suppliers aren't 100% infallible either.
Well, just like we had a part for E14 that it's a Molex part.
Yep.
And there's basically like a China part and then like a US part. And the China part can't accept one type of connector, but the US part accepts both.
Yeah.
So even and it's the same part number from Molex. So even with like name brand, it's not consistent.
Yeah, I mean you are benefiting from the prices, but you do have to watch out for those type of things. So connectors, especially, that's maybe where a trip to Whiteham Way is actually useful, because you can actually physically see the connector, you can pick it up, you can test it against what you currently have. And yeah, low MRQs, and sometimes these magic unobtainium parts kind of happen to turn up on Taobao and Whiteham Way. So it's, yeah. So, any problems using these suppliers? If the price looks too good, it probably is. So, again, look for multiple sales on stuff. Yeah, look for suppliers that have recently sold those. Counterfeit components do exist. How I've experienced this is on kind of high margin products. So, I received some PCM 1704s, which are digital analog converters. They roughly retail for about 150 Hong Kong dollars each, and it's a high margin product. So it's something that because obviously if you buy from them and you get a fake component, you're not going to go back to that place. So basically they're looking to make a decent amount of money. So they're not going to. It needs to be worth their while, but they're going to rip you off. They're not going to rip you off over something small, so there's no point. So yes, if you are buying high margin components, then be careful. Beware of recycled components. Again, beware of special components. I had some microchip picks where the devices looked perfectly good. They were from microchip, but actually they were from a special batch that they manufactured where one of the chip instructions had actually been deleted from the chip. So it looked to behave perfectly fine. They'd actually removed the reset instruction. So everything worked fine except for when we did a firmware upgrade. And at the point where it's meant to reset and restart, it wouldn't. So, and it took a long time to track down because everything worked fine. And it was basically, there was some extra numbering on the chip, and when we got in touch with Microchip, we managed to trace it back to a specific batch that they had fabbed for a specific customer. So, yeah, be careful.
This is true for not just electronic components, but motors, whatever. Like this is how we do a lot of our sourcing for, like 100 or something or whatever. So, and all this is consistent for pretty much anything that you buy from small China suppliers.
Yeah, I'd say start small and then build up, and yeah, don't swap suppliers just because you can get something 2 RMB cheaper or something like that.
But sorry, what do you gain from buying from Chinese suppliers? Are they really these small suppliers? Can they really get a better pricing?
In smaller quantities, I typically say, most parts are probably, easily at half price of a catalogue manufacturer.
Half price, yeah.
So, and then it can, for things like connectors, you can even be, like the difference between the Molex connector and the Chinese connector is probably a tenth the price.
I agree on connectors and passives, but would you do that for active components or ICs? I mean, do you really gain on ICs? Like for example, if you have like a radio frequency front end or something like that.
Depends. This kind of falls sometimes into the unobtainium category. There's some RF front ends that, unless you're a very big company, the manufacturer is not going to supply to you. You can't get through a factory distributor. So if you want to use that part, then sometimes the kind of grey market route is the only route that you have an option to take. And yes, there is a risk with that. You have to manage the risk doing that. But I would say it's more. It's been less of a problem than I expected. So, I used to manufacture radio and TV broadcast products in the UK, and we moved a lot of manufacturing across to China. So problems did happen, but there are very odd things, and usually it was something that was unintentional. It wasn't actually specifically done on purpose. So anyway, I think I'm getting a little bit behind here. So
my point about the Molex connector, we actually are buying Molex from E14, which is like a proper distributor.
Yeah.
But we found that there is a China version and a US version, even from Molex.
Oh, even from Molex.
So even from proper distributors, you have to kind of make sure that you're getting what you think you're getting.
Yeah. And when you're sourcing for production is different to sourcing for prototyping, but sometimes you have to, depending on how you do your prototyping, if you really, you can blue sky prototype where you can use whatever you want, but if you say you want to get something into production in 12 months, you're going to want to be using parts that you think you're going to use in the production. So you're careful on what you source, and that kind of prototype time is almost like your sampling time. So that's when you get 10 or 20 pieces from somebody and look at those and work out whether it is going to be feasible to manufacture with those or not. The other problems that you sometimes get with microprocessors and things like that is the modern ones. Sometimes there's big bot support packages or SDKs that you need to use with them to get like a wireless functionality working. So I'm just skipping through this quickly. So sometimes there's open source tool chains you can find. Other times there's manufacturer SDKs that you can actually find on Taobao, and these are things that generally you can't find just looking on the internet. But you can purchase them, and you don't get any support, but you can make use of them.